This is a follow-up to a video I posted earlier about non-military options for protection of commercial ships against guided missile attack, as is happening right now in the Red Sea. But this video is for more of a technical audience. Now I'll preface it by saying that what was described in the earlier video, where I come from, it's not going anywhere without a major change in principles and vision. But it's not for any technical reason. It's for reasons largely related to rumor, innuendo, gossip, misinformation, disinformation, interference, deception, blackballing, theft, and frankly personal vindictiveness, none of which contribute in any way to protecting sailors or ships, but I have experienced those things in my personal and professional life. Now this video has 4 parts. The first 2 parts are technical anecdotes that illustrate how honest technical mistakes can bury useful technology for decades. So there's a cautionary tale there. The third part is, I want to put into words an error, a type of error in critical thinking, and I would describe it this way. Because we can't solve all of the problem, we don't solve any of the problem. That's a mistake, and I've seen it before. The last part is a short monologue about what I have learned about cross-pole jamming, leaving out the most important parts for obvious reasons. So now there are some people who will say that it's impossible to protect a large ship like a commercial ship with cross-pole jamming. And to people who don't understand the countermeasure, that will sound like it's true. But there is real damage to this, but it isn't true. And there is real damage that is caused by this kind of misinformation because it can kill the countermeasure, a useful, successful countermeasure for 10 years if it isn't correctly or adequately checked. I mean, I'm aware of at least one instance where the experts about a particular weapon system were asked to investigate the susceptibility of the seeker to cross-pole jamming. And these experts normally operate the seeker with the can removed, so the card cage is exposed so you can blow air through it and it keeps cool. And it's a sensible thing to do. But if the can is missing, the ring by which the outer radome is attached to the seeker is missing, so you can't attach the radome. So they did that. Now normally that wouldn't matter because they're doing countermeasures that don't have anything to do with cross-pole, so range deception countermeasure, you don't particularly need the outer radome for that, so they were operating the seeker in a normal way for them. But, and then when they did the test, they came to the conclusion that cross-pole had almost no effect on the seeker. And that is a true and correct conclusion, as long as the radome is missing. But they didn't operate the weapon in its flight configuration, so they got the wrong conclusion, and that was reported up the food chain, and so many people just flushed cross-pole down the toilet for 10 years. And I saw the final report of a $300,000 contract awarded to a company which was asked to measure the cross-polar response of a particular seeker antenna. And they measured the cross-polar patterns in the principal planes, in the azimuth and elevation planes. But the condon lobes are on the diagonals. So they came to the incorrect conclusion that the cross-polar response is fantastically low for this antenna, because they didn't measure it correctly. Result, countermeasures thrown away. Nobody checks. So this is the kind of thing that can happen. And I have checked, and I found, wow, remarkable things. And I can't talk about the tests, but I can talk about what I know. Now here's the third part of this video, and it's short. There's a logical error in thinking, and I'll express it this way. Because we can't solve all the problem, we don't solve any of the problem. Now, like everything in life, the susceptibility of a missile to cross-pole jamming will fall on a spectrum. And at one end of the spectrum, we have missiles that are very easy to beat. And at the other end of the spectrum, we have missiles that are very difficult to beat or damn near impossible to beat, or maybe they really are impossible to beat at the present time. Whether a countermeasure set is fielded or not depends on where the missiles are clustered on that spectrum, which are likely to be fired at your ship. Do they cluster toward the easy to beat end or toward the difficult to beat end? I mean, how stupid would it be to get hit or sunk by a missile that is beatable by a cross-pole, a cognitive cross-pole Drifum type jammer? because there isn't a jammer on board, and it's not on board because it is unable to defeat, or believed to be unable to defeat, the missile that either wasn't fired or can't be fired or isn't even in inventory with the aggressor nation, or they can't get it. Because we can't solve all the problem, we don't solve any of the problem. I've seen it before. Now the last part of this video is a monologue about what I have learned about cross-pole jamming that nobody else has figured out. And I'm not going to reveal what that key missing piece is for obvious reasons, but it is real and the video forms context. Now if anybody wants to know what the missing piece is, get out your checkbook and give me a call. I can help you. The previous video alluded to an integrated theory, a new way of understanding how cross-pole works and how we can use it for ship defense against missile attack. And that theory also applies to circularly polarized seekers. The breakthrough insight is that all seekers, and I mean all seekers, respond the same way to cross-pole jamming. The only difference is how big the response is. It's as though they're all singing from the same song sheet, just at different volume levels, and that is a very good analogy. Now, confusion has arisen in the past because of a failure to understand this point, and because of the absence of a predictively useful theory, a way of understanding what's going on based on a set of rules instead of trying to, understand a disconnected set of observations. And also because of an understandable failure to recognize patterns in seeker angle response to cross-pole jamming, even though those patterns have been staring us in the face for decades, have been staring me in the face for decades. I can remember experiments in the 1990s where I thought I knew what was going on, but I really didn't. But even then, even though I thought I knew what was happening, there were head-scratching moments like, why did it do that? But looking back, and with the benefit of this insight, those observations, as best I can remember them, make complete sense. Now, this has been a remarkable set of discoveries in my life. Like, why is it that all these seekers behave the same way in response to cross-pole jamming, even though the seekers come from different countries and different eras and have different antenna designs and different radome shapes and fabrication methods? Why are they all behaving the same way? And that is a very interesting question, which has a rich and interesting set of answers.